Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. It's hot already.
I know it's too hot.
Ooh. Miss Paula,
Uh,
are you driving?
How'd you know?
I saw outside window. Just be careful.
I'm not driving. I'm at the doctor's office. So
Okay.
I'm sitting in the car. 'Cause I just left. So I said, well, I'm not gonna make it home in time to
Right.
meet. So I'll just sit in the car until the meeting's
I hear
over.
you. Good. You're safe.
Yeah. I have that paper for you too.
Okay. Thank you.
hmm
Hi, Miss Maddie.
Hello, how are you?
Good. How are you today?
Oh,
Fine
Maddie,
and hot.
I see you in the car too, Maddie Holloway.
Yes, yes, yes.
I'm sitting in the car at the doctor's office.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. Almost afternoon. Do we have a quorum yet? Let's see.
Hmm.
Yeah, Councilwoman Benado. One more and you'll be good.
Hi. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Got 4 more minutes till the morning.
Okay. Could tell you went to Catholic school, right? The
All my
nuns.
life.
Me too.
All my life.
Raina, are you on, Madam Clerk?
See Brooke, but I don't see Raina.
Hello.
Good morning.
How
Good
are you?
morning.
Okay.
Oh,
Lisa, you said you see Brooke now, Ms. Harris?
Yes, Brooke Nieves is here, but I don't see Raina.
Brooke, do you have a flag? Okay, great. Thanks, Lisa.
You're welcome.
sorry about that. I had some computer issues.
Okay. All right. Ms. Harris, need a little bit more time, or are you ready to go?
Let me just get you a flag.
No, Lisa has one.
Oh, we got a flag.
Lisa has one. You ready?
I am ready.
Okay. I hereby call this meeting to order. Can we please stand for the flag salute? I pledge allegiance
To the
to the
flag
flag
of the United States
of America,
America, and to the republic
for
for
which it
which it
stands,
stands, one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
indivisible, with
liberty,
liberty and
liberty
and
and
justice for
justice
all.
for all. Madam Clerk, could you please read the statement of public notice?
This meeting was called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. Notice of this meeting was sent to the Union County Local Source and the Star Ledger. In addition, copies of the notice were posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building and filed in the office of the township clerk. Notices on the bulletin board have remained continuously posted. Proper notice having been given, the township clerk shall include this statement in the minutes of the meeting.
Madam Clerk, could you please do the roll call?
Bonanno,
Here,
Fierstein,
Here.
Garrettson,
Here.
Hyatt,
Here.
Joyner,
He's excused.
okay, Rio, Council President Epps.
Present.
Okay, you have quorum. Would you
Thank
like me
you.
to read the directors?
Yes, ma'am. Could you read the directives, please?
Okay. Montiller,
Yes.
he's here.
Smith, Smith, Jones,
The BA is the info not here?
I don't see them on.
Okay.
Okay. Cole,
Hope.
Carrie,
Present.
Hardy,
Present.
Rustamano. Okay.
Thank you. Resolutions R25-162. Resolution is authorizing emergency temporary budget appropriation for a total sum of $2,852,776. Can I get a motion? Is there a motion? I'll make the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right.
Was second
CFO,
by Dr. Garrison?
yeah, second by Dr. Garrison. All right, you stated that the CFO is not on. I wanted an explanation on this as to what was covered for the public's purposes.
Council President, we just received a message from the CFO. He is having difficulty accessing the link. Do you want me to take a quick break and just give him some assistance?
Tony Martillas, are you on town hall?
I'm not
No?
in town hall, but I would suggest, Council President, since I believe this meeting was called specifically for, well, I'll leave it up to you, Council President, if you want Ms. Harris we want to take a break just to have Ms. Harris assist.
Okay, let's give him some. We'll come back. We're not gonna take a break. Let's come. I think we got two other issues. We got one more after this. Let's deal with this. R25-163. We'll come back to 162. R25-163, a resolution approving additional municipal court sessions per month to address the current backlog. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
I get a second. I'll second it. Attorney Martellus, can you address this, please? If you can.
I can, Council President, and good afternoon to the governing body. So as has been discussed for the past several weeks, if not months, there is an issue or a big concern with respect to the backlog numbers for our municipal court. And in order to address that, there was discussion with the assignment judge and other powers that be to add a session to our court calendar to address the backlog. That would be a way to significantly address it for the remainder of this year. We obtained permission from assignment judge Lisa Walsh, Union County Vicinage, to add a session per month, I believe. It might be weekly, but I'm not sure at this juncture. I think it's monthly, but I'm not sure. It may be every Friday or every first Friday of the month. That I'd have to confirm with Hope. But the hope, no pun intended, is to have that session address not only the DWI/DUI backlog, parking summonses, any and all matters that have been old and that need to be resolved. We also got permission to use a per diem judge to serve on that session to assist with the backlog. So that's really the sum and substance of the resolution and the plan going forward, which again has been approved by the assignment judge of the vicinage.
I have a question. Who are we using to pick up the extra session? Is it somebody that's already in place, or is this someone new?
It's someone, well, the initial thought is someone, when you say in place, I mean, it's not anybody that's currently served in Hillside.
Right, that's what I meant.
Right now, the thought is to use a judge who's a municipal court judge, but as the resolution reads, it's really availability at this point. Right now, we have one person that's available, but again, it's subject to availability. And again, my apologies, Council President, I have to verify, confirm that the additional session that we're adding would be one per month or once per week. I believe it's once a month, but I'm hoping Hope can join us soon.
Okay, I'll open up the floor for additional questions from the council members.
Yes, I have some, Council President.
Councilwoman Hyatt.
Thank you. I do recall that we had a special judge some years ago, did we not? Did we already have a position that existed like this?
I'm not sure. Good afternoon, Councilwoman.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
It's Tuesday. That should answer your question. I don't believe we had a special judge, I believe, and I see CFO Jones is on. I'm not sure if BA Smith is on yet, but I believe I believe at once upon a time we had two judges. So I don't think we had two appointed judges in the township. So I don't believe we had a special judge necessarily. I
Okay.
wouldn't even call this position a special judge. Again, it's a per diem opportunity. As we have sessions, we'll pick a judge. Right now, we have one in mind. To the extent that we can, due to availability, scheduling, whatever, it's going to be another judge. So, we could use the word special. I like per diem, but I don't think we ever. And again, I'll defer to people that were here prior to me joining the township. I don't think I know we had two judges at some point in time. I don't remember ever being told there was a special judge.
Okay, so to continue with my thought, I do appreciate that explanation. Thank you so much. We had, whether it was two judges or a special judge, but I do remember there being a conversation about the mayor going to the assignment judge, basically saying that we no longer needed the other judge. And so one judge was removed and then a new judge was brought in as the chief. And there was always talk that there was a necessity because it would create a backlog. So for me, it's important to know how we got here and why we're here now, especially when we have all of these financial issues that are going to be included in this budget. So what changed from the time when the mayor went and requested that we no longer have two judges because we didn't have a need, but apparently it seems we did?
That I can't speak to, Councilwoman. I can only speak to what our current situation is right now. And our current situation right now is, as has been discussed, again, backlog is an issue. I do see BA Smith has joined us. So any questions regarding the special judge, I guess, can be addressed by her, but I can say, this part I can attest to. Since we were hit with the pandemic in 2020, obviously everything changed, not just within the courts, but outside the courts. And all courts have been scrambling to address backlog since COVID. All courts have. We're now in a situation where, because of COVID, and I guess other factors, again, that are normal within the court system, COVID adding more to that, we're in a situation where we have what we have, our numbers are what they are.
I think for me, it's going to take a little bit more information. I'm going to look more closely at the budget as it pertains to this, because this is an additional expense that we're talking about at this point. But I do appreciate you answering my questions. Thank you.
Thank you. And it has been, and I'm sorry, Councilman, one more thing. It has been confirmed for me that the authority from the assignment judge does give us permission to have a session so it's once a week, every Friday until the end of the year.
Oh, my final question. With that being said, since we did have a second judge before, why didn't we seek out that judge to fill this obligation?
I can't speak to that. Sorry.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions from council?
Just for clarity, maybe I missed it. So how was the selection? What was the selection process?
There really is no selection process when we're looking for a per diem person. It's really one of qualifications. Again, it's really one of qualifications.
But there was one
that was suggested, and I guess recommended based upon his experience. And that was, I guess, opted to go with that individual based upon experience, recommendation, and the need, I guess.
But you said there was no process. So how was that person selected?
If you want to call recommendation a process, then I guess that's what it is.
So how was the recommendation evaluated to provide it to the council for review or consideration?
So I don't, number one, I can't speak to the process, but number two, and I say this respectfully, I don't believe the council should necessarily get hung up on, and I'm not saying you are, but I don't think the council should necessarily get hung up on the name of the individual that's being suggested, more so because within a session, once we had a session, as I indicated, we're at liberty to use anybody who's qualified to, and who has or previously sat as, or who's currently sitting as a municipal court judge, whether it be the judge that has been recommended in the resolution, or whether it be another per diem judge that the county believes that we should be using. It's really one of need, and I think the immediate focus should really be on the addition of the session, and who's going to preside over that session is whoever's going to preside over that session.
So with all due respect to you, sir, you answered, I guess, someone else's question, because I didn't ask about the person. I asked about the process, and you presented on the person. So perhaps stay focused on what my question was. You said it wasn't an appointment. You said it was a recommendation. I very simply asked, what was the process, or how did that recommendation, since you said it was not an appointment? That was all. I didn't ask about the person. I didn't ask about he, she. I just said, what was the mechanism, since you said it wasn't an appointment? So I asked, what was the method to get that recommendation before the council? That was all. But thank you.
Any other questions from council?
Question, Council President.
Councilman Firstein?
Attorney Montells, can you clarify for us how many sessions the court has now?
Twice per week.
How many times? Twice?
2 times per week.
Twice per week. When the Finance Committee had met with the court, we heard from the current judge, who I'm assuming is still going to be the chief judge. Nothing changing?
Nothing, no.
So he had mentioned to us that he was taking on extra sessions to make up for this backlog and had been doing that all along. So do we even need this? It sounds like he was doing it.
We don't have extra sessions, and I can defer to Hope for more on that, but my understanding that we've not added any extra sessions.
In throughout the year. I mean, he said he was doing extra sessions, and we're saying they weren't added.
Hope, have we added extra sessions?
Yes, they have scheduled some extra sessions, Attorney Metellus, but it's not as steady as you're proposing now. But they've had additional sessions throughout the year for specific matters such as DUIs, things of that nature. But what's being proposed is an additional session per week for the remainder of the year.
So Councilman Firstein, so my apologies, sir. So yes, so again, apparently there's been sporadic sessions added here and there, but we're looking for a more consistent approach to the problem, where we know that it can and will be addressed on a weekly basis, whether it be one session devoted strictly to DUI, one session devoted strictly to criminal or quasi-criminal matters, which again would be DUI, would fall under the quasi-criminal category, whether it be parking, one session strictly devoted to parking, code enforcement, whatever that is, we need a consistent approach so we can get our numbers down.
So if we had someone who came from Union, would we need to do this whole resolution, or they would just cover the sessions like any other court?
I'm sorry, sir, I missed the question. My apologies. Say that again for me.
Well, my understanding was that in any court, if there needs to be extra sessions, you just pull a judge from that county and they can cover the sessions. And why are we going through all these motions to get someone from another county to cover some of these sessions?
There's nothing precluding anybody from using, there's nothing precluding the administration from using anybody from this county or another county. I guess that's the only way I can answer it.
Yeah, it seems like, again, this is one of the pet peeves that I've had for about 1.5 years, that the courts have been behind in our town. Certainly in the areas that this judge would be covering, anywhere from 150% all the way up to 500% over the last 12 months at least. So I'm happy to see that there's a movement to do this. if I just want to be candid with you, is this judge able to hear DWI cases?
I don't know.
Have we Googled this person before we put them on the
I know Judge Benitez as well. Yes.
yeah, the Google reviews had some complicated things which I'm concerned about. And I think I would need more time to maybe have this judge come in, or have this person come in front of the personnel committee, in front of the council, maybe present an executive session. Because the things that I saw did kind of raise alarms. And if we can find someone who's local and who knows this and knows our court, that's great. I'm sure there have been judges over the past few years that have covered extra sessions.
So Councilman, I think that's more than reasonable. I believe what you're alluding to, and certainly we're not going to go into that on the record clearly, but I think what you're alluding to has been resolved. But I think your request is reasonable in terms of having an interview. As I indicated earlier, to Councilman Garrettson, apparently not answering our question, but I guess I can answer yours with that same answer. I think your request is a reasonable one. I think we should, if the governing body agrees, we act on an additional session, and then the judge, whatever judge is appropriate, I guess, is, for lack of a better word, can be determined at a later time. But I think in accordance with the assignment judge's directive or vision or authority or whatever you want to say, I mean, she's the assignment judge. There's no higher authority in this county than Judge Walsh. And there's no higher authority that did the review of our courts than the assignment judge's office. So I think that we can move forward with the additional session and then do whatever is necessary to safeguard this court as well as our sessions going forward.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, Ms. Walsh had approved 2 judges before, so I'm sure she understands the need in Hillside and the backlogs we've had.
Right. And remember, and I'm sorry to interrupt, Councilman, remember, the resolution, look, there's no specific judge. It's a per diem judge. I mean, that's really the bottom line. It's per diem. Let's just be clear. There's no specific judge. There's a judge that's been recommended in this resolution, but there's no specific judge. It's the session that needs to be focused on so we can get back to numbers that are satisfactory to not only you as the governing body, but also the assignment judge and Her Honor's office, which oversees us and has been very concerned with how our numbers are looking. So I think we need to.
So we're not appointing the judge, you're just appointing the session? Is that what you're saying?
Well, we're authorizing the session per her directive. There is a judge that's being recommended, but to the extent that the council wants to interview, and again, I think your request is reasonable. To the extent that you want to interview the judge that presides over that that additional session, then so be it.
So maybe a friendly amendment could be, we can add that any judge before the township would be first interviewed, or just create that clarifying information so that process is there. I think that could appease and actually be a process, so that it's just not any judges randomly, but that if there is a judge that goes before the municipality, that the council's personnel committee and or a deemed appropriate group would be able to have awareness, so that it's just not someone that randomly that we don't know who's before the courts. But I think that way it then solves the problem I said earlier with the process, because I'm listening. And I don't have a problem with the extra session. I think it makes sense because there could be additional funding we can secure by actually having additional court sessions. So I think that the concept is a good one. I just think that perhaps given the scope of who's going to be doing it, and since you said that wasn't the priority, I think with Councilman's recommendation to have an interview, that can be just added before we vote. And I think that would solve the problem. We can proceed because there's some other bigger issues to deal with today.
Yeah,
Council President?
Sorry, just to clarify one thing, I'm okay having extra sessions, and I would approve that. I think before we get judges in here, having funded the salary for a second judge last year and nothing happened with it, again, part of that problem is this process to Dr. Garrettson's point. So I would hold off on this or table this until we get more clarity on it, but that's my opinion.
Well, I would caution against tabling it. Again, if you want to amend it to that it doesn't state a specific judge, I think we need to move on the session. I really do. I mean, we've gotten our orders from the assignment judge. I think we need to add a session. To the extent that you want to hold off on the judge, that's fine. And we can
I would
amend the
agree.
resolution accordingly.
Yeah, Judge Breaker told us he was adding sessions, and he's added sessions as B.A. Smith.
But he's added them sporadically, as the BA has indicated. That's not enough. That's according to the assignment judge's office. It's not enough. We want, I think, and I quite frankly, I think regularity should be on the forefront of everybody's mind. Adding sessions here or there, as opposed to having a regular additional session, I think makes less sense.
I'm not sure why we don't go back to a second judge system. I don't know why we're doing this sort of half-baked with sessions here. There.
I'm not saying we should. I'm not saying we shouldn't. And maybe that's something we revisit down the road for 2026. But we have 6 more months left in 2025, and this is how the assignment judge wants us to address our backlog.
Can we get I would like to get the information on that from the assignment judge, and just to see how this is done, if they're recommending specific sessions or even a second judge, because if we have 6 more months, let's get it right and do the whole thing the right way, like we were supposed to do last year. That's my recommendation. I would table this till we get it done. We could do it quickly, and let's do it the right way.
Yeah, but I'm just a little confused. Just 6 months ago, everything was fine in the court. I'm a little confused how we here right now, and now there's a sense of urgency to appoint, do this now. But 6 months ago, everything was running fine and smooth.
That was exactly my point.
I'm confused how we got here. My answer is no for today, but we can move forward. Is there any other comments from the council?
No, I mimic what you just said. I don't understand how we got to this point so quickly.
I mean, unless somebody was telling a fib, that everything was running fine. And they've been speaking about this for almost 1.5 years of the backlog. And now we discovered that there is a backlog, and the county, everything was being covered normally. And now in the midst of this budget crisis that we're facing, we're talking about, I can't do it. I'm ready to vote. Any other comments from the council?
Yeah, and I want us to also recall that if we go back to when we did have 2 judges, the removal of one of those sessions was requested by the mayor. She requested of the assignment judge to remove the other session. It didn't just go away. And there was a judge holding that seat who said on multiple occasions that there would be a backlog, that there was a backlog, and had shown that in fact a backlog exists. So now that we have all come to that conclusion and are agreeing with that statement, I don't understand why we didn't just go right back to that judge to fill this position.
All right.
This is a more complicated issue. So perhaps the chair of the finance committee, and I actually sat in the meeting when Judge Breaker did say that he was covering some of the sessions. Perhaps it's in the best interest, Council President, to table, because there's clearly a lot more information that needs to be provided. But I will stand on record and say I'm not opposed to it, but it does sound like this has been a bigger issue that kind of predates even when I came back to the council.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to it either, but I'm just the misinformation we're getting once again. 6 months ago it was fine, and now we're in a sense of urgency. I'm not following it. The sense of urgency right now is this budget, and I'm interested in how this is going to affect the budget. We can move on this now, or we can have a motion to table this. What is the pleasure of the council?
I move to table.
We need to retract the current motion, Attorney Mantillis, or we can move to table this.
I actually move to table.
Okay, thank you, Councilwoman Hyatt. Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions to table from the council? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, roll call.
Bonanno,
Yes to table.
Fierstein,
That's the table.
Garrettson,
Yes, the table.
Hyatt,
Yes to table.
Council President.
Yes to table.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Let's go back. I see CFO Jones is here now. R25-162 resolution authorizing emergency temporary budget appropriation for total sum $2,852 and I'm sorry, $2,852,706. I'm sorry, $2,852,766. We already have a motion. We already have a second.
Council President, if I may,
Yes.
apologies for being late. I had technical difficulties. I couldn't get on my phone or the computer. I just sent Raina the last version that was sent last Thursday. The one that's in your package is not the correct one.
What's the correct number, CFO Jones?
The correct number is $3,854,871.
Could you give us an explanation on what does that cover, that amount?
Yeah,
And-
this is per our discussion last week, Council President.
One second, and the payroll periods that is covering in particular.
Yeah, this is for the last 2 pays in July.
Okay.
The one that was originally submitted that's in the package was just for the next pay. But this one
Okay.
covers both pays in July.
Okay. All right. Any questions on the council for CFO Jones?
Well, I have a question, but I don't know if it's for CFO Jones. When we think sequentially about what we're doing at this meeting, we didn't want to do the budget first if we are planning to introduce it.
Council President, through you, it was a late addition. Meeting was originally noticed. The budget wasn't necessarily going to be acted upon.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions from the council?
And I have a question. And this is an emergency to be passed to pay July's employees and
Yes.
outstanding bills.
Yes.
And will it be required if we introduce the budget today?
It would still be required if we introduce the budget today because it's not adopted. We can't adopt the budget until 30 days from after introduction at the soonest.
All right, so we would still have that template. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Glenn, so this would cover the next 2 pay periods, and this also assumes that we are going to not have the budget passed by the second pay period. Meaning, if we're ready by the second pay period, which is what, in a month from now?
Well, even if you introduce at the next pay period, you can't adopt it until 30 days after that at a minimum.
Right, 28 days after. So,
Yes.
so that's what I'm asking. We would miss the second pay period.
Yes.
Okay, and should it happen? I'm just asking on one item in specific. When it comes, where I guess a couple that we were discussing in the finance committee, when it comes to a couple of these items, if we make any changes in the budget after we get it introduced today, it'll only affect anything going forward. It doesn't retroactively change any of these numbers, right? Just to be clear.
Yeah, it doesn't change what we spent already. It just gets applied to whatever the adopted budget is.
Okay, understood.
Any other questions from council? All right, seeing none, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Since this is a different resolution, Council President, you should do a new motion.
Oh, yeah, the amendment. Yeah, as amended. We're going to vote as amended, Council. Attorney Matilis? Attorney Matilis?
Don't we need to rescind and start over?
Yeah, that's what I'm about to ask him now.
Your motion to say as amended.
Say again?
Right.
Or Council President and Councilwoman Garrettson can amend their motion to say as amended.
Right.
Even though it's a
As long as the
totally
changes are
different-
clear on the record, so that's fine.
Right. So as amended for $3,854,871.
All right, on the record, I changed my motion to reflect that amount.
Council
Even
President,
though we don't know the line items, so.
I
Can
did
somebody at
forward
least
the
forward?
email. I can show you, I can share the screen and scroll through. If that
Please.
makes
That's
Thank you.
acceptable.
That would be great. Thank you so much.
Raina, while you're doing that, can I just ask a bit, CFO Jones, did we include the payment of that General Electric? Did they get paid from last meeting as part of the resolution we did?
That's also included in this emergency temporary.
Oh, I
It's
see it.
the
I see
very
it.
last
Okay.
line.
Yep, I see it.
Ms. Harris, you sharing the screen now?
Yes,
And
Okay.
Could you move it up a little bit?
Yeah.
Right.
Council, after you review it, let me know if you have any questions, please.
Mr. Jones, again, this is for what time period? For the salaries?
He's saying it's 2 time periods for July.
Yes, so we had 3 pays in July. The emergency we did last week was just for the first pay, which was last Thursday. Now we have 2 more pays in July on the 17th and the 31st.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from council?
can
Seeing
you just
none.
bring it down a little bit?
okay.
Thank you.
You okay, Councilwoman Banana?
Yes, thank you.
Can you move it up one more time? Yeah, thank you.
Councilman Garrison, you okay?
I'm almost to the bottom, thank you.
Oh, okay.
I've reviewed, thank you.
Any other questions from council? I seeing none, I've already said as I amended my Councilwoman Garrison, did you, Dr.
And as
Garrison?
amended,
As
as amended.
amended. Okay, thank you. All right, Madam Clerk, that amendment has been noted on record. Could you please take roll call?
Banano,
No,
Fierstein,
Abstain.
Garrison,
Yes.
Hyatt,
Yes.
Council President Epps.
Yes.
It does not carry. You do not have 5 votes.
Okay. R25-164, resolution authorizing introduction of the 2025 municipal budget. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Can I get a second?
second.
All right, this is only introduction of the municipal budget. As noted, we initially, Councilman first, and I'll let you speak on this before we go further.
Okay, so this is just an introduction that the administration is giving to the council and presenting their budget. I just want to clarify with CFO Jones, were there any changes to the budget that we're seeing now that you're introducing?
No, it's the same budget.
Okay, so just to follow up from the last meeting, we had tried to give the administration an extra week to make any changes, but if there are none and it's exactly the same, the administration is basically giving us the budget to work with, and the council together has to come up with whatever means we can to see if there are areas where we can make some cuts and reduce this 13.75 tax hike that everybody's getting. And this is just the introduction, so this generally gets introduced to the council. We have 28 days or a little bit longer if needed to come back with any changes we would like and present that to the clarify for me. We're not presenting, we are giving back the budget that we will finally adopt. That's my understanding.
Mr. Finance Chair, could you also add the letter that came from the state? And that what we did last time, the state actually did respond to your correspondence stating that there was a question of 2 council people who were not present today who stated that they voted in favor, but that the individuals, the 5 remaining, could be fined in the event that we do not comply with the mayor's introduced budget. Could you just speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, again, we reached out to the DCA and who had initially sent that letter saying that we had to pass the budget by June 30th. reached out to them in the hope of getting some extra time before we were starting to get penalized. The majority of the council, with the exception of Councilman Rios and Councilman Joyner, were willing to take on whatever penalties we incurred for the delay. Those two did not want to do that. And in addition, we had asked the DCA for a recommendation or a meeting to get together. I had gotten a response back, and they had said that while they weren't assessing fines yet at the time when I wrote the email, they urged us to get it introduced, and at the same time said that we did have a right to meet with the Division of Local Government Services, and they're going to send hopefully a contact so that we can work together and make sure that we do this properly. Again, my complaint to them was that it's easy to penalize the council when it doesn't get introduced, but it doesn't work the other way when the administration doesn't send us the budget in time. Other townships had this done back in March, and we're here in the beginning of July, and probably realistically won't get this done until August. So that was the email and correspondence that went back and forth with the executive secretary of the local finance board.
Thank you, Finance Chair. I just wanted to, as a committee, we have attempted to work with the administration, talk with the departments, but again, the introduction so late. We are in the process of a number of council members are looking at the numbers, looking at the things that have been presented to us, but we really are trying to figure out if the administration had any ability to cut the initial introduction, which is what we are seeing before us today. Again, this is something that the state is requiring this council to do, considering it is now July. And so let's also look at the year. There's 12 months in the year. So we are that far into this particular budget cycle. So it's also important to recognize that we are inheriting a number of the items as you saw today. And this is not an easy budget, but it is something that we are committed to looking through, but it is something that we have inherited.
So, Councilman Firstein, I know we sent it back to administration. What was the feedback from the administration? You just got it back as with the 13.7? Any feedback at all?
None. It sounds like per CFO Jones earlier, we're just getting back the same document that we had requested a second look.
CFO Jones, is there any explanation on that?
Council President, I've been working on this budget since the beginning of the year. This is the budget. This is what needs to be introduced. That's my only explanation.
If this was being worked on since the beginning of the year, why did we just get it?
Yeah.
CFO Jones?
Yeah, I don't have an answer for that, but this is the budget that we're presenting.
Pretty pathetic.
I said we're gonna vote, but I'm gonna say no and give it back to you because I know when I looked at the document, I seen areas that you can cut. For instance, I have residents call me about a position that's paying $125,000 that the council didn't even approve. I mean, that should be definitely looked at. There's multiple secretarial positions. Every little penny counts. I don't know what you're looking at when we send you back this budget, but the citizens are looking and seeing exactly what we're seeing. I'm sending it back the same way. Just give you a little bit more time to do this.
Council President, I mean, that's what the 28 days is for. That's for council to make those decisions now.
Glenn, if I could just reiterate, what we're trying to say is there are places in this budget where there's a 60% salary increase, 60%. And we gave this back to you with the hope that some of these cuts would be done. Now that 60% is not going to reduce the 13.75% increase, but this is an area that we know is being underutilized to the benefit of the residents and 100% utilized to the benefit of individuals. And the hope was that by giving it back to you, some of those astronomical increases would be changed. That was the hope. There are other areas which are basically telling us is that the administration doesn't want to make any changes for the benefit of the residents at this point.
Yeah, I think that's what they're saying. That's what they're saying. Okay, I'm ready to I'm ready to vote. I'm sorry, Madam Clerk, take a roll call.
Banano,
No,
Fierstein,
Yes.
Garrison,
No.
Hyatt,
No.
Council President Epps.
No.
The motion fails.
Clerk, I am present. Robbie
Oh,
Rios here.
oh, I'm
Sorry, I just
sorry.
came in.
You just, do you know what time you came in?
About like 2 or 3 minutes ago.
Okay,
So at 12:41.
okay. Sorry about that. Council Vice President Rios, yes or no?
Yes.
Motion still fails. It's a 4-2 vote.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, can I change my prior abstention on the salaries to a yes?
You were not on the prevailing side, so somebody on the prevailing side would have to open it up for a request for a new vote.
All right, Madam Clerk, I'd like to request a new vote for Resolution R 25-162, authorizing emergency temporary budget appropriation for the total sum. I don't have the exact amount that CFO Jones gave, but I know we amended it to that amount that CFO Jones stated.
Council
Um,
President, the amount is $3,854,871.00.
All right, to that amount, I'd like to reintroduce that again. I'd like to make a motion.
Okay,
Is there a second?
What are we moving? I apologize.
R 25-162.
is that the emergency?
the emergency, yes.
Somebody from the prevailing side had to reopen it. I'm making a motion to reopen that.
Okay, I'll second.
Is there any questions from the council? To reopen this conversation about R 25-162? All right, and that's the, Madam Clerk, at this time, I'd like to make a motion to accept R 25-162, authorizing emergency temporary budget appropriation for the total sum of what Ms. Harris just stated on record. Can I get a motion? I'll make that motion. Can I get a second?
Second,
Any questions from the council? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, can you please take a roll call?
Banano,
I'm still a no.
Fierstein,
Yes.
Garrison,
Yes.
Hyatt,
Yes.
Vice President Rios,
Yes.
Council President Epps.
Yes.
With 5 yeas and 1 nay, you have a motion that carries.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to open up the floor for public comments.
Council President, before we do that, can I interject?
Council VP Rios.
Thank you. I would like to make a motion. I know it's pretty important to address Resolution R 25-151 for the Hector Group for our UEZ planning.
Where is this at?
From last meeting, we didn't have a second, but it's still tabled.
And I'm sorry, could you just restate your motion again, please?
Motion from the floor to read Resolution R 25-151 for the 5-year development plan for the Hector Group. Remind everyone, this is a state requirement. If we don't have a plan or a firm in place, the state will not award or let us, use this money for projects moving forward. And again, this firm is paid through the state. So it's important that we at least talk about it.
Did we have the deadline that we asked for? What was the deadline to get this introduced?
We didn't get the additional information. We were asking for additional info.
Yeah, they sent. Yep, they sent the email that Friday after the meeting.
But we don't have, it was not on the agenda and it was not on this particular agenda.
It was on the last agenda and I'm bringing it on the floor. So
I'm saying that this is a special meeting. And so this item was not going to be, it was going to be at our next regular meeting.
understood. I'm still bringing it from the floor.
Did we get a deadline, VP Rios? When does that have to be passed?
I don't remember the deadline, but I know the deadline was fastly approaching, or if not already passed in the state. I think went to Hope, saying that we had to appoint them sooner rather than later.
But we asked at the last
we-
meeting for the deadline date, and that's the
Correct.
whole reason this isn't happening. So
We haven't gotten the answers from the last
We have
meeting.
not.
And
Which answer is it? What specific answer are you looking for?
when is the deadline for this to be passed?
well, let's do this. Well, 1 second, Councilman First thing. You put a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
No.
All right, seeing none. It fails. At this time, I'd like to have a motion, make a motion for public comments.
I have one motion. I have one motion I'd like to add from the floor.
1 second. Go ahead, Councilman Garrison. Make your
Um,
motion.
And this was to establish a fiscal review investigative committee. I make a motion to introduce a fiscal oversight and stewardship of public funds on behalf of the residents. This is to deal with the concerns that have been raised regarding fiscal management, budgeting practices, procurement procedures, financial transparency within the municipal government. And the council finds it necessary and appropriate to establish a formal investigative committee to conduct a comprehensive fiscal review of municipal operations, including but not limited to vendor payments, department expenditures, budget allocations, and financial reporting practices. And the council has the authority under New Jersey law and the township's governing structure to investigate any matter affecting the proper administration of municipal finances.
All right, you made a motion and walked it on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any questions from the council?
Yeah, Council President.
Council VP Rios?
Wouldn't this fall in the purview of the Finance Committee?
No.
What's the purpose of this?
The composition would consist of the full members of the township council, and this would be a chairperson, and we would be able to engage all of the directors to come before this investigative committee. This is something by the law. So this is actually putting more authority under our ability and for our powers and duties. We will be able to conduct interviews, request written and verbal statements from the directors, request, inspect, and analyze documents, contracts, financial records, and correspondence, communicate directly with department heads, employees, professionals, and any individual. I'm not sure who's speaking, but I'm trying to read. Doing business and initiate correspondence with current and former vendors or contractors for clarification documentation. So again, thank you, Council President. I did hear this of the motion in a second.
Any other questions from the council? All right, seeing Madam Clerk, please take a roll call.
What?
Wait a minute, sorry, Councilman VP Rios, you had another question?
Well, what are the specifics around how this is going to perform? How are they going to meet? How are we going to meet? Like, is there any specifics, or what are we voting on exactly?
The Council President, I can add a little bit to this. This was done with research to other townships and how they deal with the fact that there are questions that come up from council that are not answered by administration, or more specifically, when there's information the council is requesting numerous times and doesn't get it. So what this does is it empowers the council, all 7 of us, not exclusive to any specific individual, to go to vendors, employees, anybody we would need to request information. What this does is full transparency, so that if anyone is told not to talk to the council, we can now have it in writing, and it is a resolution that any requests we make do need to be answered. This is enforceable by subpoenas, by the court, if it goes down that road. But this changes the dynamic a little bit from us having to request for months and months and months of information, especially when it comes to the budget, to be able to get information. So it is the full council body. Anyone can ask questions. It doesn't have to be in specific groups. This can obviously be shared with everyone to review, but I am definitely in agreement with this, especially with the budget coming up. That we all need to be on board and all need to ask questions and all need to get answers in order to make sure we understand that we're doing the best that we can with this tax increase.
Thank you.
Understood. Would have liked a heads up before coming to this meeting and seeing that, but okay. Thank you.
Any other questions from council? All right, seeing none, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Bonanno,
Yes.
Fierstein,
Yes.
Garrettson,
Yes.
Hyatt,
Yes.
Council Vice President Rios,
I have no knowledge of this, so I'll abstain.
Council President Epps.
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. All right, this time, can I make a motion to open up the floor for public comments?
I move.
Second.
I'm sorry. At this time, the floor is open for public comments. Please use the raise hand feature. And please be on video so we can see your face if possible when speaking. State your name and your address as well.
Council President, I don't know that we'll see them. It seems the Zoom is stuck on Spotlight.
Okay. No problem.
Everybody should have the ability to change their view.
All right. Madam Clerk, you can see if any hands are up, or if you can't use the raise hand feature, please type in the chat so we know that you're trying to speak.
There is Janice Caldwell with a hand raised.
Okay. You can acknowledge her. You can acknowledge her, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Caldwell?
Still muted.
Okay, do you hear?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, I'm sorry. My name is Janice Caldwell, 140 Baltimore Avenue, Hillside, New Jersey. So I was just listening, but I don't understand what happened when the vote and what you guys was voting on. Could you please just give me more clarity of what just took place far as the property taxes? What did you guys vote on? Did you vote yes for the 13 point whatever?
No, we sent it back to the administration.
You sent it back.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. So what are you guys' goals are now? To do what when it comes down to this tax increase, property tax increase, what the mayor is asking for? What are you guys' goals are right now?
We want a balanced budget submitted to the council so that we can then approve it and then send it off to the state. We have not received anything that looks like a balanced budget.
Okay, so that means that you guys are going to hold that position, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I just want to share with you and from the community and the residents, okay, we appreciate what you guys are doing and how you are moving forward with our best interests at heart. And I just want to thank you for that. And the next thing that I want to share with you from the residents, and we stand on this and we stand very strong on this, we do not want you to give any more money to the mayor. Even if you stop the project with the pool, whatever, we do not want that until we get a new administration, new government, and we move from there. We do not care if we don't have the pool. We do not care if we don't have the library. Our concern is now that you hold on to the taxpayers' money and stop her movement far as our tax dollars are concerned. And we know that Rios is against anything that have to do with the tax, property tax and raising our tax dollars. We know that. We know that he said yes, and who also said yes at the table here for this 13 point whatever. We need to know that. Hello?
Hear you.
Yes. So who, you know, how many people we have on board far as protecting the best interests of the residents right now and the tax dollars? Hello? I'm
on board.
Who else is on board? Please, we need to hear your names.
I am Lisa Bonanno.
Say that again.
I as well. My name is Lisa Bonanno.
Put her name down. Lisa Bonanno, Hyatt. Who else? What about you, David? Are you on board to protect it? Because I heard you say no, and you was interested in what was going on, and you did mention us, and we appreciate that. Are you on board to stop this movement here?
100%. We're not in favor of this 13.75% tax increase, and we know that there are places where they can make cuts.
Okay, Mr. Epps?
I'm not in favor of the tax increase.
Okay, you're not for the tax increase, right?
I'm not.
Okay, let us hear you loud and clear, Mr. Epps. You're not for it.
I'm not
Okay.
in favor of the 13.75, let's just say 14 for all practical purposes, tax increase.
Council
And you
President,
would,
your time is up.
Thank
okay,
you.
And I'm not in
okay,
support of it either. That's Dr.
okay.
Garrison.
Who's that? Who's that name, please?
Dr. Garrison.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Garrison. Thank all the people who's not supporting it. And we want you guys to stand there and support that to the full end until this election is over with, because change will be made come that day, November. Change will take place. We thank you so much for your services.
Thank you, Ms. Caldwell.
Thank you, Mr. Epps. Thank you so much.
Council President Mattie Holloway's hand was up next.
Thank you.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Maddie Holloway, 141 Bailey Avenue. And I would just like to echo what has already been said regarding this budget. I'm pleased that it was sent back. And there is something that I believe that the administration can do with this particular budget before it comes back a second time, because to do nothing is, to me, is a slap in the face, a disrespect to the citizens of Hillside. I would behoove the council to look at this with a fine-tooth comb, look at the padded line items, look at the increase in unnecessary staff being hired, extraordinary padding, and the insurance and everything that will affect this budget, because with 13.75% increase, who can afford to live in Hillside? Seniors, regular residents, and this town will begin to look like a ghost town, because we're not going to be able to pay it. This is like this is 20% in the last 2 years. And this is unacceptable. And I just want the council to just take a fine tooth comb looking at this budget and make your recommendations, no matter how hard they may be, but whatever is in the best interest of the citizens of Hillside. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, Ms. Holloway. I think Ms. Mitchell has her hand up, Madam Clerk.
Council President, before you call on the next individual, if we can just remind everyone to stay, whoever is not speaking in the public, to stay muted. That would be Ms. Caldwell. We're getting background noise, please.
Thank you, Attorney Martillis.
Mute me.
Ms. Mitchell? You're still muted, Ms. Mitchell.
Good afternoon, everyone. Aldina Mitchell, 1431 Maple Avenue, Hillside, New Jersey. I just want to, kind of speak on exactly what everyone else is saying. I mean, this is totally, we don't need any more have to pay any more taxes, and we're still not getting services. So we need to, hey, we don't need to pass this budget. There has to be something that can be done. And, and I would appreciate the council going back, looking at this. We have to stop saying yes, yes, yes. I just listened to the meeting, and it's like we were talking about judges and about an additional judge that they needed. It seems like it's a top secret thing that nobody knows who this person is. And I feel like the council, hey, even if I don't know, the council should know who's working for our township. And this is totally unacceptable. Totally unacceptable. And like I say, everything has to be in clear view so everybody knows what's going on. This is not something, it's not something that you can hide from the residents. I mean, it's like how, we're 45 million in the red here, and we're sitting here trying to raise people's taxes even more. Totally unacceptable. So I, ask the council stop saying yes and go back to the drawing board and see what things you can possibly find to make things better for the residents and show that you care about the residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mitchell. I see you have Mr. Arthur Colbert's hand is up, Madam Clerk.
Good afternoon, Arthur Kobus, 327 Trinity Place. Listen, I've been on both sides of where you guys are, and I saw part of that budget. And I looked at that mayor's already spent most of the money. But the problem is that I've noticed too that I'm hearing when she gets a bug up against somebody or she goes after somebody, she puts them out of work on pay. So when you're paying certain people $150,000 a year to sit home for a year or two, the worst part about it is you got to pay overtime for getting somebody to cut. Like if you put out a sergeant, a lieutenant, a captain, and the police or fire, somebody's got to cover for him. So not only are you paying a guy 150 grand to stay home, you're paying overtime for the guy to cover his shift. First thing you guys have to do is get hold of the mayor, or we have an attorney, and the people that we're paying to stay home, either let them retire and move on or get them back to work. But you can't pay people that much money just to sit home. Plus, they get a raise every year. So they're still home getting raises. Doesn't make sense. And like I said, I looked at part of that budget and she already spent most of that money. Cutting it is, like I gave you a couple of suggestions last week, but it's going to be really tough when the money's gone already. And that's why she waited so long. I've been telling you guys for years. That's why she waits so long to give you the budget, so you can't make the cuts. So have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kobitz. I see a hand from Ms. Jackson. You're muted, Ms. Jackson. Unmute yourself.
Hello, all. Taisha Jackson, 252 Dora Avenue. I was interested in knowing, is this meeting primarily an emergency meeting because of workers not being paid?
That was one of the reasons why we called the meeting, to ensure that the employees can secure a paycheck. Yes, that was one of the reasons.
Okay, and from the beginning of the meeting, are they, I just need a little bit more clarity. Are we not going to be able to discuss the 13.7% tax hike that's supposedly in place?
It's public comments. You can talk about that if you like. We've sent it back once again. We rejected the introduction today. But if you want to talk about it and make a comment about it, you're more than welcome to make a comment about it.
Yes, I feel as if being a newer homeowner here in Hillside and seeing that the taxes were already raised within 3 years, seeing that this happening again would just be like devastation to Hillside. I'm not for it. And
Ms. Jackson, 1 second. Somebody's not muted and I can't hear you clearly.
Ms. Holloway.
No, it don't take me long.
Ms. Holloway.
Please, audience, please mute yourselves, please. I'm sorry, Ms. Jackson, go ahead.
yes, I feel that it would be a devastation to Hillside residents if this tax hike was approved. My other concern is still back to the pool again. I don't want to lose sight of that. I also had some concerns about the recreation center, and speaking to some of these teenagers here that are in Hillside, people, it seems like they're saying that they're being neglected as far as being able to have access to the community or community center, or even having things and functions available for them as well. So not only do we want to just think about toddlers, children, but we also want to think about our preteens and our seniors and not forget about them as well, because they are the upstanding and the upcoming of Hillside. And I think that that's something else that we need to start addressing, having activities for our teenagers and making sure that they are also included within this community. protecting our seniors, protecting our rights as citizens here, and no tax hikes if we're not seeing any resolutions. And that's all I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, is there any other hands or anybody in the chat that want to make a comment? Could you just please check that, please? I don't see any hands.
Here's a hand. Maddie Holloway.
Ms. Holloway, go ahead.
Okay, I just have a question. I would like to know, why is it that you're holding these meetings at a time when people are at work at 1 and 12 o'clock? Because we mentioned about open communication and letting the public know what's going on. The few of us that signed in know what's going on, but there are so many Hillside residents who are just unaware. Why don't you hold these meetings at night in person so that the people can come out and make their voices be known and heard?
That's a great point, Ms. Holloway. For this particular meeting, the only thing that was initially supposed to be on the agenda was the emergency temporary budget. So we called the special meeting just to address that. And as that meeting, other things were added to address. Normally in July, sometimes we don't meet. So we called the special meeting to address this, and other things were added as we go along. But we do have regular scheduled meetings, as you know, that we address a total agenda. But it was a sense of urgency because we also wanted to see our employees that work for the township get paid if possible. So I do hear what you're saying. We will these special meetings, we can call it in the evening as well. I don't have an issue making an adjustment with that. But thank you for that recommendation.
And I really think you should have it in the evening, because there are so many people that are uninformed, want to know what's going on, making phone calls to me and to others trying to find out what's going on. But if you held the in-person meeting at the 6 o'clock or 6:30 hour, residents can come out and be informed. And that's what it should be all about in our township. So I would like to see another 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock meeting.
No problem, Ms. Holloway. Thank you. Appreciate that comment. We'll definitely take it under advisement for the next meeting.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, any other hands?
Yes, Aldina Mitchell and Janice Caldwell have also raised their hands again.
We have one new person that has not talked yet. I believe that's Ms. Thornton. Allow her to talk, and then we'll get Ms. Caldwell and Ms. Mitchell.
Good afternoon, Audrey Thornton, 286 Florence Avenue. I just want to say that there seems to be so much going on in council with the mayor. Every time I get on one of these meetings, I end up really confused, and I end up disheartened because there seems like, first of all, with the way the meetings get set up, and there seems to be such infighting or disagreement. I won't say infighting, but it is completely erasing anything I ever understood about civics and how townships are run, and how the council and the mayor are supposed to work together. I'm at a point in my life where I've been in this town for most of my life, and then in my adult life became a homeowner here. So to watch the disintegration of this township is completely disheartening to me. And to see taxes be increased the way they have and are trying to be in such a short amount of time and not being done gradually, I'm wondering, is the point to run out all of those people that have owned homes in this township for years? I don't understand. Just like Ms. Holloway said, it's going to end up being a ghost town. I don't know if you're trying to clear it out for somebody else. I don't understand many of these things that are going on, but it's disgusting. And people make a lot of promises when it's time for their chairs to be filled, and then do absolutely nothing.
Facts.
Do what serves their right-hand men and their cronies, and it's absolutely disgusting. I used to be really, really proud of growing up in this town and proud to say outside of this town that this is where I come from. That has changed a whole lot. And I just thought I just don't understand. I don't understand. And I understand why people who have grown up in this town and do own in this town, why they don't even want to be bothered. Because when you get to the meetings, it's confusing. It's childish. It's child's play. I don't. It seems like it's a task to be able to have an audience with the mayor. I don't understand that at all. So I guess my whole point is I just don't understand a whole lot of this stuff, and I hope that there can be some meeting of the minds so that this town doesn't look like Mayberry RFD. I don't get it.
Thank you, Ms. Thornton. Well, Ms. Thornton, I can just say to you that currently the council is fighting as much as we can to keep this 13.7 tax hike from happening. That's what's going on now. It's not a lack of communication. We're not fighting the mayor. We are fighting this tax increase. And we're fighting for our citizens. But the infighting stuff that you're talking about, I know that's a popular narrative. I don't like to feed into that narrative. What we're doing is we're doing our job as council people to make sure that our citizens get the right services, and 13.7 is just unacceptable for the citizens. And that's what we're fighting for currently right now. So I'm sorry that you perceive it as a dysfunction, but that's not what's going on right now. We're just fighting to do our best for our citizens.
Well, let me ask you this. As far as, I think Mr. Cubits, if I'm not saying his name right, please forgive me, mentioned receiving budgets at the last minute before meetings. Is there supposed to be a certain amount of time that you have to look over budgets before you have to make a vote on them?
Yes, ma'am. It's actually state mandated that we should have received this budget in March, or I believe February 28th, somewhere in that area. When we get, the later we get it, it's harder to make cuts from the budget. And we got this budget, I believe, late last month sometime. Or if my Councilman Ferguson can clarify that. So the later we get it, the harder it is to make cuts. But yeah, we're supposed to get it in the beginning of the year, not in June and July. It handicaps us from making cuts to help impact this type of increase.
And for that to be state mandated, how does that keep happening?
That is a great question. And I think Councilman Firstein and the Finance Committee has put that on record with the state that, we're personally looking at having personal fines now because we're holding the budget till we can get some adjustment made, but there's no penalty when the administration holds it for as long as they've been holding it for. So that is a great, I do not have the answer to that question, Ms. Thornton. I wish I did, but this doesn't seem like there's a penalty when they do it. And it's not the first time they do it regularly. They did it last year when they raised the taxes. So it's not the first time.
Council President, can I address what she said also?
Councilman Hyatt.
Ms. Thornton, are you asking when we first received the budget, is there a certain amount of time that we have from then to introducing? Because when you vote on it, because I'm sorry.
My question was, are you supposed to get it in order to give yourselves enough time to actually go over it and as Ms. Holloway said, go through it with a fine-tooth comb? That was my original question, but what you're referring to is also a valid concern.
Yeah, no, I thought that was your original question. So to that question, everything that we get from the administration, we are supposed to get with a certain amount of time to not only review it, but to determine whether or not it's going to be included on the agenda. And so with the budget, if I recall correctly, we got the budget literally the night before a meeting. So there was no time to review it at that point. But as far as the budget process, as is mandated by the state, ultimately, we are going to have to introduce the budget. That's a state mandate. It is a state mandate for the governing body to introduce the budget that is provided to us. So at some point, we're going to have to do that. We then have another clock that starts. And during that time period, the council will have the right to go in and make cuts to the budget that was presented to us. So the issue that we're having is we don't want to be held accountable or responsible because none of us stand in agreement with a 13.75% tax increase. However, the law may obligate us to introduce that 13.75% budget and then obligate us further to be the body that has to make the changes. So just so that the public has a clear understanding, the budget that was introduced or that was provided to us is the budget that was created by the mayor and the administration. It has a lot of things in there that we totally disagree with, including more months than a year's time of insurance in the calculation. So decisions were made that have caused us to be where we are. It's not an accident. It's not, oh, somebody didn't do on the council what they were supposed to do. No, the largest change from last year to this year is in the insurance line. So that bears drilling down on to see why. Do we have 14 months worth of expenses included in this budget as opposed to 12 in last year and 12 in this year? So things like that. Those are the types of things. And so when the finance committee says we want to send it back, if she continues to send it back, we're just making the situation worse because throughout that time period, she will still be spending at the rate with which she created the budget. So ultimately, we are going to have to introduce, but we are standing to show our solidarity to the tax-paying citizens that none of us agree with the 13.75%. And I hope that that helps really answer the question you had. Are we supposed to get it a certain amount of time and have time to review and make a vote? The answer is yes. Did that happen? The answer is no. Does that happen with every resolution, every ordinance, every document that we are supposed to get and have that amount of time to have to review before it meets or ends up on an agenda? That does not happen with this administration. It has not ever happened with this administration. So this is just another iteration of the same process that has gone on for the last 8 years.
I want to just add one thing. I do agree with the councilwoman, and I know we can't respond to every single person, but very similar to what Councilman Rios did today on this call. I introduced something from the floor today. He said he did not have information or an ability to see it or hear it, so he was going to abstain. So think about that. And that's a council colleague. He felt he didn't get enough information, so he didn't want to support it. So imagine the budget is quite comprehensive. Imagine not getting information comprehensively and then being asked to vote on it. We heard our council person today say, well, I don't have enough information. I wish I had more information. I would vote.
Right.
So I just want to give that comparison. So it's not always just mayor on mayor or mayor and council, but it was a council colleague who gave you guys an example here today that he wouldn't even vote on a minor issue that was researched by myself and David Feuerstein and others to support the very thing that we're asking for. So it's also business that we need to sometimes see that how it plays out right in front of us.
Thank you. All right, let's go back to the public comments. Council members, I'll give you the opportunity to talk after we hear from the public, please. I have Ms. Watson has her hand raised and she hasn't spoken yet. So let's go to Ms. Watson.
Mr. Epps,
Yes.
before
I'm sorry, Ms. Thornton. I'm sorry.
no problem. Before I say nothing else, just what Ms. Garrison just said, it reminded me that when you were speaking about the judge position that's needed, there does seem to be a recurring theme of the left hand not knowing what the right hand is doing. Because I remember Mr. Epps saying they thought that there was no backlog and everything was going smoothly, and here it pops up that they're in need of needs to hire another judge. All of this looks absolutely ridiculous to the public.
Agree. I agree with you, Ms. Thornton. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Thank you all for your explanations. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Ms. Thornton.
Council President, if I may,
Who's
very
that?
briefly. This is Attorney Montilus.
I'm sorry, I couldn't see him, sir. Attorney Montilus, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Council President. First and foremost, I had to switch to another device. I don't have camera capabilities right now, so my apologies for not being on video. I was on video earlier when I spoke. Just a couple of comments, Council President. Number one, and based upon what happened with Ms. Thornton, I'd ask that the citizens be allowed to complete their comments before council responds to anything said. This way, they're assured getting their 3 minutes.
I agree.
And then, if there is a need for any comment, then the council members or council president can comment in response to whatever is said. That's number one. Number two, I see there are hands raised, Council President, for individuals who previously spoke. I know that a few meetings we've been getting into the habit of allowing individuals to speak more than once. There is nothing in the law that allows individuals to speak multiple times. They're given their 3 minutes to speak, and that's it, really. It creates bad precedent and also prolonged meetings. If the council president wants to go down that road today, I see there are 2 repeated hands, at least 2, if not more than that. But again, council president, there is nothing in the law that allows multiple comments by the same individual.
Well, let me address that, Attorney Susan. Thank you for the comments. I'm allowing it because I know the sensitivity of this topic, and I want to be sensitive towards my residents. So I'm gonna use my discretion. I'm going to allow it, but I do
Thank
understand
you.
what you're saying. But I'm going to allow them to talk because I know this is a very sensitive topic, and I'm not going to mute anybody from what they have to say. So I do appreciate what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, and we get through this budget process, this budget crisis. I will definitely return back to what's normal. But right now, this budget proposal is not normal. So I'm gonna use my discretion to hear the citizens.
Council
Ms.
President,
Watts?
also, I have been using the timer. The timer is on.
Okay, thank you. But do stick to the time, residents, because I do want to hear everybody. So please do stick to the time when I allow you to speak. Ms. Watson, you have the floor, ma'am.
Yes, Rayba Watson, 830 Jerome Avenue. To start, I joined a little late, but I want to thank you, Council President Epps, for making that statement you just made to the attorney. It's important that everyone's voice is heard. So I thank you for that, because it's interesting how sometimes we want to quote laws and rules and sometimes we don't. But moving on, my question is, since the administration first proposed this 13.7%, has any of the council members had the opportunity to make recommendations for any cuts or anything? And if that was done, what was the response from the administration?
Well, so Ms. Watson, what I've recommended to the council members is look at the budget themselves and then give those recommendations back to the finance committee chair and the committee so they can look at it. And when they, when we get ready, when we do get possession of the budget, we can make those cuts accordingly. But we were waiting when we sent it back. We were waiting to see what did the administration have any cuts that they would make prior to us putting our input in it. And apparently, they're not going to make any cuts. So we have not executed any suggestions from the council members that we as far as cuts are concerned. I don't know
Okay,
if
last question. No,
ahead.
that answered. So
Okay.
once will we have a meeting? Once you all make your recommendations, will we have a meeting after those recommendations are made? Will there be another public session after the
Yeah.
recommendations are made?
Yes,
Or
ma'am.
will it just be y'all make your recommendations, the administration either agree or disagree, and then we're stuck with what we have?
No, man. That whole process will be done in public, and I'll
Okay.
have it. And I'll have it in the evening. I promise you it'll be in the evening so everybody can be we're not interrupting everybody's work day.
Oh, thank you. That's very much appreciated. Okay, that's all I had for you.
Okay. I think we have Ms. Caldwell and then we have Ms. Mitchell.
Hello?
Ms. Caldwell.
Hello, could you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I want to thank you, President Epps, again, for allowing me to speak a second time. And I'm passionate about this, and I speak for the human race in our township. That means everybody, okay, from all different race, okay? And basically, I'm happy that you just veto what the lawyer wanted to try to accomplish, not allowing a person to speak a second time. This is important to the residents of Hillside. People are suffering, their livelihood is at stake. And I'm going to ride on the back of Miss Thornton, I think it was, who spoke. And I just want to encourage her to don't let anyone drive you out of this town. You belong here. We're going to stand together as residents and we're going to fight. Okay, we're going to fight for our rights. We're going to fight to make sure that our money is not being misused and that it works for the town. Our money is a precious, how would you say? It's precious, okay? And it's important that it is used wisely. You know, when you count your pennies, your dollars will take care of themselves, okay? And then I want to go on to say, if the mayor spent this money already before the budget was given to you guys, the money have to be paid back. So what are our chances in reducing this 13 point whatever percent it is? I don't remember offhand. Could you please answer that for me, please?
Ms. Caldwell, I will let Councilman Feinstein answer that question during his council remarks, if you don't mind, because I still have another hand I want to get to. So if you could just stick around for council remarks, and I'll let Councilman Feinstein answer that question for you.
And I want to thank you once again for standing up and you know, and listening to the people.
No problem.
To the people. That's the important thing right now. Very important. Thank you again.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Mitchell? You still muted, Ms. Mitchell?
No, okay. Aldina Mitchell, 1431 Maple Avenue, Hillside. I did notice today that we actually have department heads on the meeting, which is very rare. I don't think we've seen it this year, but it's nice that the department heads are here. And, and I just, want people to realize, every year since this administration has been in, we have not gotten a budget on time. And it's like they keep spending. So by the time you get the budget and you've got maybe 6 months or less than 6 months left in the year, it's like you've already spent the majority of the money. And this is not, it's not hard to recover from. But I just hope that you guys can find some way. And, and for people, the residents, remember, hey, the administration makes the budget, and it's not fair for them to wait till the last minute to give it to the council. And in this particular meeting, this is the most I've heard this attorney say in a while, because he doesn't usually mention certain laws that are being broken. But that's ridiculous, because the people need to be heard. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mitchell. Madam Clerk, is any other hands or anybody want to speak as far as the chat? Look in the chat.
In the chat, there's commentary, but there's no one asking to be heard. And there's there is a hand raised.
Could you acknowledge that hand, please?
Ida Sanogo.
Hi, everyone. I'll be kind of whispering because my child is sleeping. So I am at 265 Ogden Way. We're new here. We moved in 2001. So I'm kind of getting my bearings a little bit. I wanted to say that having children as a new mother, daycare fees are increasing. Then you have this tax hike, and our salaries haven't increased in the same manner. So for them to even at a time like this, when you go to the grocery store and you're wondering how you're going to feed your family, send them to a good school. Make sure you save enough money to leave something for your kids. To increase it at this rate is, to me, just unacceptable. So I wanted to thank you guys for sending it back to them. And I just wanted to understand something. What happens if they send back the same exact budget? Are you guys able to just make like red line the budget and say, hey, cut here, cut there, and let's move on? Or are they just going to keep playing this game of ping pong back and forth?
So, Ms. Sager, I will let Councilman Furstein address that in his comments. Just hang around just for a little while. We're going to do council remarks, and I have him address exactly what you just talked about, the process, and he'll touch on that during his council remarks.
Thank you.
Any other hands, Madam Clerk? All right, seeing none, can I get a motion to close public comments?
Motion.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. At this time, I'm going to have council remarks. Councilman Furstein, I'm going to let you go first. As there's some finance questions you maybe can address to the public.
Sure. Thank you, Council President. I'll be quick. First and foremost, I did want to acknowledge that the department heads are here. This is a big change that we've had for the first time since I've been on council. And I want to thank Chief Carey, who's here from the fire department, as well as OIC Matt Coe from the police department. As they could see, there are meetings which are not hostile to them. They are part of the community. They are in essence the fabric of this community, very much so. And we appreciate what they do for us. And if nothing else, I do want to say thank you to them publicly in front of everybody. Nothing's perfect, but we appreciate what they do for us. And the fact that they're here today means a lot. And I hope that continues. In terms of the budget and the next steps, we definitely identified, and the finance department, the finance department had seen some areas which definitely need to be cut. There are departments with a 60% salary increase. The hope was, sending it back to the administration, they would get a chance to fix some of these inflated numbers. It is very disheartening to see that is not done, and I hope that this is the last chance that they have to kind of get this thing right. As Councilwoman Hyatt said, there is a process to what we're doing. And at the same time, at some point, the budget will have to be introduced. That will allow us, the council, to make any changes. To her point again, there is very little that can be done the more time that goes by. So what happens is one of the biggest ticket items is the insurance cost. That has to be discussed, that has to be worked on. There are some things and ideas that some of us have talked about, and we're going to see if we can make some changes. But yes, we will have a meeting, and thank you, Council President, for saying that sooner rather than later, to discuss where we think the cut should be made and how we would like the budget to look. Again, are we going to save 13%? Very unlikely. Part of this, so people realize, this is a long-term process that is now coming into a catastrophic area. This doesn't happen overnight that you go from 0 to 13%. It doesn't happen overnight that you have 2 years of 6% plus increase, so 20% over 2 years. It doesn't happen that this just comes about. One of the problems I had specifically with this court is that I've been saying since I got there, we used to have 2 judges, now we have 1. It's going to cause backlog. We're going to miss out on revenue. The court is not a revenue generator, but all these tickets that we're not paying, that people are not getting penalized for, means that the township loses money, means that when residents complain about the cleanliness of areas, the parking, all these things tie into the court. And to ignore this for all this time leads us to where we are today, where suddenly there's an urgency to now have extra sessions. We were told, the finance department was told in session with the current judge, extra sessions were being added at no additional cost. This was a few weeks ago. Now we're saying we need more. Now we need more. We need more. We're going to add more expenses. At some point, this will only get worse. So my fear, last year was 6%. This year is almost 14%. What is next year going to look like? This is a big problem. We need to come together, and I want to say thank you to Mr. Kobus for voicing some of his opinions, because he has been an essential part of this also. I've gone to him numerous times. He has experience. No one person knows all the answers. I would like to ask in my closing comments here for participation from the community. If you have any idea, if you've looked at this budget, let's collaborate and work together to see what we can do. No one knows everything, but together we might be able to make a difference in all of this. So we are looking down the barrel of a very scary increase. And I hope that over the next few weeks that the administration comes back, That says they've looked at it hard, they've made the changes that they know they need to make, and they've been willing to tighten the belts on some areas that maybe they weren't thinking about before. We, the council, are doing this. We, the finance department, are doing this, and we're going to need help from the residents to do this as well. We don't have all the answers, but I think together we'll definitely be better than where we are today. Thank you.
Councilwoman Hyatt.
You're
Muted. Muted.
Thank you, Council President. First, I want to thank the residents that came and joined into this meeting because this is a sizable number in both virtually and on Facebook. What you have had the opportunity to see here is some of what the council has been going through in order to try to ensure that fiscal responsibility exists. And so to the point that Councilman Feuerstein made about the judges, we had 2 judges. Having 2 judges was something that was requested. And for it to go from 2 back to 1 was also requested. Conversations have been had over the course of multiple years about what that was going to create as far as backlog, as far as loss of income and things of that nature. When we think about a budget, the budget is supposed to be the financial roadmap that gets you to whatever vision your leader has. If your leader is not showing you improvement or means of expanding the services that you have or increasing your fleet, then chances are your budget will reflect that lack as well. We've said over the course of years, we have not had economic development, and yet in our budget is a line item to pay a director for economic development. You heard today, as one of our council members wanted to make a motion from the floor to do something that would relate to UEZ. UEZ as a component of economic development in a department where we have someone getting a salary, and yet we've had no real material ratables come into our township over the last 8 years. The significance of the ratables has everything to do with the budget. Ratables coming into the township would help us to stabilize the taxes so that the taxes that the homeowners are being asked to pay would not continue to rise and at such a large amount. So all of these things are connected. So when you hear us talk about the judges, when you hear us talk about permits, licensing, and all of these departments that can generate income, the fact that no one in the day-to-day operations is pursuing income generating opportunities within each of these departments are reasons why we don't have revenue coming in from other sources. So the budget is comprised of income generation and expenses. If we're not improving our income generation and we continue only to increase our expenses like we've been doing for the last 8 years, that's how we end up here. Although we may want to blame it on something else, those are the facts. The fact that 12 months of insurance is what should be in every budget, and a decision was made in last year's budget to put 10 months of the expense in the budget and push 2 into this year, was one of the reasons why I voted against the budget last year. That 6.2% tax increase didn't include 2 months of the expenses. In addition to that, the 24 new hires, we start talking about areas to cut costs to try to improve this situation. If we can't trace any of those new employees to a service or a benefit to every taxpaying citizen, those are where we need to start. Unfortunately, if we look into debt that we've gone into that we may or may not need, that we have or have not used, we may need to revisit and find out whether or not we can restructure some of that debt. All of these things are areas that we can look. And to the point that Mr. Kobitz made, that is one of the biggest contributing factors to why our budget continues to balloon. The way in which people are treating our employees lead to so much expense for the taxpayer, whether it be as a lawsuit or whether it be to the point that he made, individual employees being on the payroll and not being at work, whether it's a suspension, whether it's something done improperly, whether it's something done for an extended period of time, it all goes back to how we are treating people in the workplace. That was a huge component of the fire department salary. So when you have an individual that is out, just like Mr. Colbert said, this is one of the rants I had made for the last couple of years. Give us a status of the lawsuits. Give us a status of the employee grievances. Give us a status of who's at work and who's not, which they did not give us. So when you have employees out for a year or longer who get their annual salary despite not being at work, the bigger issue is how many people you have to pay to cover for that individual's absence. And you're paying at a time and a half rate as opposed to a straight pay. And so when you have in their code how many of each title they're going to be and how many are required for each shift, and then you can't meet that criteria because of personnel issues, you are now creating a foreseeable expense, an expense that you can calculate and plan for because you know it's going to impact your budget. So the understanding of the relationship between human decision-making, poor decision-making, and the actual cost of those decisions is how we get here. So while you may be given other descriptions and explanations, trace the dollars and cents. It all goes back to people making bad decisions. That's what it comes down to. There's a lot of low-hanging fruit in Hillside. There are areas where we could generate income that we simply don't. It's going to take a huge improvement to governmental operations in order to get some of those revenues that are just dangling there for us to get. And separate and apart from that, we're gonna have to let go people who shouldn't be here to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want our public safety department to be afraid. I know that some of them are very concerned that they will be where cuts are made because they heard a statement that someone said we're going to make cuts where we've never made cuts before. I don't want anybody to panic. We will do our due diligence as a full body. We will use all the combined skills that we have, whether it be in accounting, finance, general operations, whatever our level of understanding and expertise is. I believe that every one of us will use what we have to get to a responsible number so that our tax-paying citizens have some level of comfort and support. No one wants a 13.75% tax increase, and we are going to all put our hands together and our heads together to ensure that we don't do that. As far as there was a question that I thought was unanswered. The young lady asked about what will happen. We will have to introduce this budget if it is returned. That is what the law says. And like I said earlier today and in meetings past, the law is clear. The governing body has to introduce the budget. The budget consists of us voting in the affirmative in order for introduction to be secure. So we are going to be obligated to introduce this budget if it is returned to us in the same way. The state has even responded to Councilman Feuerstein's letter saying that we wanted more time. They were very clear that we need to get this done. There were a lot of words, but that was the point of what they said. We are going to have to get this done. We then will have the responsibility and the time to go through the budget and try to cut. And so while I don't want to say everything is possible or that nothing is possible, we will give you our best effort to get to a number that is much more reasonable than 13.75. And Council President, thank you so much. Again, thank you to the department heads, as Councilman Feuerstein said. I do appreciate Councilman Feuerstein taking, the conversation that we had from the last meeting and expounding upon it to make the point that I mentioned about, they want to charge council members individually $25 a day, but that there was going to be no fee to the mayor administration for providing a budget at a late period of time. So everyone, we are accessible. Reach out to us and have a great day. Thank you.
Councilwoman Dr. Angela Garrison.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining this particular meeting. As mentioned up front, it initially was just to do one item, but we did bring forth a number of concerns regarding this impending 14% increase. There have been a number of conversations of looking at the largest increases, what was negotiated, what was not negotiated, what was discussed. Is there a way for us to really find alternatives to what has already been in motion? Remember, from January through July, we are in July. So this budget has been at a steady pace for the entire year, unchecked. And unfortunately, it was only presented very recently. So as we march toward the end of the year to December, there are a number of things that can and cannot be done. I am not going to reiterate some of the items you've heard now, but we do want to just think about why at this meeting today, I walked on establishing a fiscal review oversight committee for the council. That means that the council can go directly to all the directors. So for the directors who are present today, we are not obligated to go through the administration as we look into some of the questions that the residents, not just the council, not just the mayor versus the council, but the residents, as all of us engage, many of you, whether on this forum or other, people are asking the question, and it's not an unreasonable question. Why now? Why 7.5%? Why almost 14% when in 2 years it was almost 20%? Why? What is the history? Did we forecast forward? Did we put anything in place? I equally spoke to the CFO, and he mentioned because of taking the 2 months from last year, he said, well, it would have been higher last year versus this year. That's not an answer. That's not a responsible answer. Although it's an honest answer that this was a problem that started and was erupting last year. We just were not put in a position that makes any of us comfortable. So as we think about what type of investment that anyone on this call can do, again, it's thinking about really listening to what the questions are for the mayor and council. This is not just about, this is a fight. This is bigger than a fight. This is now hitting all of our pockets, all of our bottom lines. This is not about we don't like this or we don't like that. We have to think logically, realistically, and we have to be able to make sure that we find some solutions. Some of the things that the finance chair and the committee, again, that we are looking to do, we will be convening a conversation with the labor unions. We need to make sure that this is not in a vacuum. When the insurance was going up, the labor unions were not at the table. It was the council that really fought for the unions. And you can ask anyone in the unions. It was the council that fought for them to be at the table. So even with those particular changes, and yes, insurance, state insurance across the state is increasing, but we still have to make sure that we're making sure all of our voices are heard. When it comes to economic development, again, we have someone in place. We need to make sure that we all perhaps participate in what we want to see as the vision of this community, because we're not getting it by just a person, a sole person. We need to make sure that collaboratively, collectively, that we understand that we can't just make this a bedroom community, because if we put our decisions in the wrong hands, it's going to end up being 20%, 30% or higher. I'm not wishing that, but I know that without the community's input, without standing together, without making sure that we're informed and understand the decisions that are being made and working with the directors. So yes, thank you for the directors for being here for the first time. Since I've been back in January, I've never had a director on this call. So we do appreciate and see that we have been fighting behind the scenes, and not fighting because of, but because it's the right thing to do. So Council President, with that, I will conclude my comments today. But again, I want to make sure that this community stands firm, that that fiscal review investigative committee is for all of us. We will utilize that committee to get the answers, not just for this moment, but to make sure that we're building forward for a more positive Hillside that we all can feel proud of. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Bonanno.
I will be short because I have to get back to work. But I want to say something. We are more powerful when we empower each other. And I think the Hillside residents see that we are empowering you, taking your input, using your input, talking with you is most important. And I don't think you've had that in a council before. This council president is with you. We work with you. We live next door to you. We are Hillside residents. No one wants to see taxes raised like that. No one with any conscience can allow that to happen. We are fighting for you each and every day. So please understand we are doing exactly what we're supposed to do. It may not be happening overnight, but we are taking those steps to take back control. We know this is a difficult task, and we have wonderful people on our finance committee, and together we will empower every Hillside resident, and everyone will go stronger. We need to grow together. We can't divide. No one wins when there's division amongst each other. We know what we're facing. We need to unite. We need to have one team and one group unite so that we can make effective changes. Please, for the future of Hillside and the future of our families, let us stop fighting each other, unite, and become a team, a force to be reckoned with. I know Hillside is worth it. I've lived here my entire life. Hillside is a beautiful community, and we will get that back. We will work together to grow Hillside. Thank you.
Thank you. Council VP Rios? Is he still on? Madam Clerk, is Council VP still on?
I don't see him.
Okay, thank you. I'll go. Okay, anybody else? All right. Thank you, residents, for coming out and attending the special meeting. I will have them in the evenings moving forward, especially in regards to issues such as this. Let me thank my council members for working together, in particular my finance committee chair and everybody that's on that committee. You're faced with a very difficult task, and I appreciate all the work that you're doing with this. I just want to caution the residents that are on or not on. The only victim that I see here is the residents. Be very careful of the victim, the cry of being the victim. I know there's some budget hearings coming up that the administration is holding. When they say that, well, it's the council that didn't do this and the council didn't do this in time and the council, because you're going to hear it, I'm quite sure. This is that time of the year where somebody has to take the blame and point fingers and play the victim. Let me tell you what the council has done. The council has approved money for the pool. There's no pool. The council has approved money for there to be a library. There's no library. The council has approved more money for code enforcement so the code enforcement could be more effective. It's not. So I can go on and on and on and on, but those are just three examples of what the council has done to work in conjunction with the mayor. So the failures is not because the council has not been trying to not work with the mayor. We're fighting. The only victim is the people, the citizens of this township, who are not receiving the services and not receiving the things that were promised to. So again, I stand by my council. We're doing the best we can. We're faced with an awesome task of trying to make a difference with this 13.7. But we're going to do our best. I think every penny matters. I see the wasteful spending. I know that even in the police department, we have police officers sometimes that act in the capacity of dispatchers because we only have maybe 3 or 4 dispatchers who make an annual salary of about $31,000 to $38,000. We refuse to hire more dispatchers. So they made an excess amount of money in overtime because they're short dispatchers. And the interim of that, and it's just an example of wasteful spending, not mindful spending, we pull officers off the street and have them do dispatching duties. And we pay them overtime sometimes to do dispatching duties. Wasteful money, wasteful spending. I did law enforcement for 26 years. I challenge you to tell me that is not. So again, those are just examples that we could do better with this budget, and we should have been doing better with this budget. But moving forward, we know as a council that we got to keep our eyes on this and make sure we stay steadfast in making sure that the administration is doing what they're supposed to do with the taxpayers' money. Again, I thank you for coming out. I'm sorry it took so long. I got to get back to work myself. But again, thank everybody for coming out. We'll have future meetings that'll be posted. I would encourage all the citizens to go get a copy of the budget from the clerk's office so you can review it as well and give us recommendations on what you feel as though it needs to go. So go to the clerk's office, get a copy of that budget. It's accessible to every citizen here in Hillside. Again, thank you for coming out. At this time, I'll take a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Again, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Have a good day, everybody.
Thank you. You too, sir.
Did you tell her we were? My computer frozen. My computer's frozen.